Hello and welcome back. Okay, so this is the video number 2 on this tank review series. Today I want to talk about the LTTB. This has become probably one of my favorite scouts, if not my favorite scout in the game, because you don't have to play it as a scout, but I'll get to that later. First of all, I want to talk about where this thing comes from, what the line is like, what the grind is like to get there. So you go through the BT2, BT7, I consider some of the best low tier tanks in the game. The 820, which is kind of a, yeah, it's crap. You can't argue that. It's fast. That's all it's got. T34, kind of a standard tier 5. It's mid-range pack. Not great in turbo, just okay. MT25, if you guys are looking for a tier 6 light, I highly recommend this. Is it as good as the T37? Maybe not, but with it being about, I think what this thing's about 25 tons, and it gets a 700 horsepower engine, the thing moves like hell. It's worth getting, especially with the 22 km/h top speed. I'm probably going to rebuy this thing pretty soon. Anyways, with the LTTB, once you get here, there's not that much to unlock. You just have to get tracks. Engine you should have unlocked if you get the top one from the MT25, which I recommend doing. The radio you'll probably have unlocked if you do other Russian lines. The only thing you're going to have to unlock is this last 85. Now, the 85 before it, I will say it's not a bad gun. However, it's just less accurate, less penetration. Rate of fire, for all intents and purposes, is basically the same. Basically, if you're trying to grind it out, you can run the premium APCR, with 194. But honestly, even the stock 144 pen, not that bad at tier 7. You can still work with it. All right, so let's go of some of the base stats here for a second. 950 health points, about 40 more than the Walker Bulldog, but you're not really banking on light tanks having health points. 22 tons, ridiculously light for its tier. I'm not saying it's like ELC, AMX ELC light, but it is still very light. 700 horsepower makes this thing have a ridiculous 30.46 horsepower per ton. That is much, much better than the Walker Bulldogs. Roughly, it was about 20-ish, 22. 22.15 versus the LTTB's 30.46. Just for future reference, I usually just call this in the LTB. I just skip the other T because you get the point. This LTB does have a top speed of 68, which is 4 kilometers an hour slower than the Bulldog, but it's just more maneuverable. With that extra horsepower, it just gets up and goes. It's fantastic. Traverse speed, it's about 6 or 8 less than the Bulldog. Yeah, it's about 8 less than the Bulldog, so it's noticeable, but it still traverses very well. The armor on this thing's fantastic for a light tank. Now, look at the Bulldog. The Bulldog's really a direct comparison. I'm going to ignore the 1375 and ignore the WZ-132. Yeah, they're there. They're good tanks, but they're not the same caliber, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions. They're still good, but they're not the top. These two are kind of the top 2 Tier 7 scouts. Anyways, the Walker Bulldog has 25 and then 19. It's basically non-existent for its tier. 90 at the front. 45 at the side, 40 at the rear. 90, 75, 52. The armor on this thing is fantastic for its tier. And look at the sloping. You can get some crazy bounces in this thing. You can bounce some shots that almost no other light tank would. And that's massive. Considering you can go around a corner. I've done side scraping in this thing before. Yes, it's only 45 millimeters, but if you present less than a 10-degree angle, it's basically an auto bounce. You can brawl with this thing, and especially with other tier scouts, particularly lower tier scouts like the T37, if they're running the 137 autoloader, this thing's a fantastic scout, hunt, and destroy. This thing's fantastic scout, hunter, killer. Anyways, let's move on to the gun for a second, because this gun's fantastic. I'm going to compare it to the Walker Bulldog's regular 76. Not the autoloader, because everybody uses the autoloader, but this one. Bigger caliber, so it does more module damage. That's something to consider. Yes, the Bulldog gets a good better rate of fire. It has 5 more penetration on standard rounds. The LTB has 6 more penetrations on the premium rounds. LTB does 30 more damage. LTB is 0.02 more accurate. Sorry guys, I can't speak today. It shows a difference in this LTB. At long range, you can really get shots out. You could be at 500 meters sniping with this tank, which is something that this tank really does somewhat excel at. Is staying at long range, staying out of the reach of everybody else, and just sniping away. The aim time is a little bit longer, but it's worth it. it's worth it on this LTB to have the little bit longer aim time. I feel like the accuracy is worth it in my opinion. So the view range on this thing's not bad, 390. It's not as good as the Walker Bulldog's 400, but this tank is not as much of a bush camper as the Walker Bulldog is. My thought is the Walker Bulldog's supposed to do what it does, stay in the bushes, spot things, and hunt things down later. The LTB, it can almost go in at any time and just wreck stuff one-on-one, but that'll show you in the video. Here we have it's a bit of a controversy. It all depends on the way you play this. I play this thing very aggressively. I go out and I know I'm going to do well. I'm going to do the best I can and just get things done, just kill tanks. So for me, I go with the 6th Sense just because on any light tank, always get 6th Sense, always, always, always. I went with Recon because I wasn't going to put any binocs or anything like that on here, which I'll get to later. So I recommend Recon. View range is always good. Deadeye, I highly recommend. You guys have probably seen from the last one, almost every gunner in this game, in my account, has Deadeye because I think it's important. It gives you that plus 3% to critical damage or modules. That's big. That helps when you're firing 20, 30, 40 rounds in a game, especially with this thing holding as much ammo as it does. It's not a lot, but it holds enough. You might be able to get that extra fire or that extra damage out. And then the second one on this, I have Snapshot. If there are other skills, for instance, you might want to have something like Designated Target if you're going to be spotting more. Armorer, nah, that one's kind of a toss-up. That's a later rank perk in my opinion. Now for the driver, this is actually important. You can go off-road driving, smooth ride, or clutch braking. I went with clutch braking because I thought if this thing doesn't traverse as well as the Bulldog, and I wanted to, especially if I'm going to be brawling with it, I need to be able to turn quickly. I need to be able to angle my armor and such. It's handy. I know a lot of people that are light tank drivers and scout drivers might be going, ugh. I think it's worth it. Most people are probably going to go off-road driving and then smooth ride. But either way, it's up to you. Now this one, my loader, I had him do camouflage and then repairs because, quite frankly, I shouldn't be using safe stowage on it because I shouldn't be taking hits. That's not this thing's job. You could go for things like relaying or signal boosting or situational awareness, things like that. Nah. Yeah. I think on my 3rd set I'm going to go for these other guys having camo, and this guy I'll probably go with probably situational awareness, but that's what we're worried about another time. For equipment, I went with vents. That's 5% across the whole crew. It's worth it, especially in light tanks. I think any advantage you can get, and whether it be DPM, whether it be spotting, whether it be whatever, it's worth it. I go with the enhanced torsion bars on this, not for the load limit. No. This thing's fast. This thing's maneuverable. This thing is a bit of a mountain goat. You will get up on mountains, get up on ridge sides, and you do not want to lose your tracks. That is the one thing. This is not like a Bulldog where the Bulldog, for some reason, even if you have all 910 health or you have 1 health, you're still almost as dangerous. The LTTB, it relies more on its hit points as a scout. What ends up happening a lot of times, you get into engagement where you want to put 3 shots in to them to kill them, but you're going to take 1 shot. They shoot at you with like a 90 mil and you take 240 damage, where you hit them 3 times and do 400. That's kind of the trade-off that you get with how this tank plays. You want to keep as much health as you can. You don't want to stop. You need to keep moving, especially if you're brawling. So I recommend the enhanced torsion bars. However, if you really want to change it up, you can do gun laying drive, maybe coated optics. If you're going for the usual camp bush method, obviously camouflage net, and you do your binocs, but that's up to you. And then I do, obviously, tank gun rammer. At most every tank should have a gun rammer on it. Me, because I love this thing so much, I do use the premium consumables. For me, it's worth it because I play this thing for fun. I already ground it up. I already have everything I need for it. So for me, I think it's worth it because I don't play it that often. And you guys can see, I have like 5 million laying around. Now, yet again, I will say this again from ODM Mortis, I highly recommend this Replay Manager mod. I think it's fantastic. I think it's definitely something that's worth looking at. I absolutely love it. Anyways, we're going to go into a battle I had the other day. As you can see, 3,200 experience, 1,800 damage. Actually, is this the one I'm looking at? Yeah, it was 1,800 damage. That was really quite good. Oh my god, hold on. 2 seconds, guys. Someone is texting me, and I don't know who. But I am absolutely terribly sorry about that, but that was something to do with clan stuff. Anyways, so I'm going to go into this battle, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what this thing is doing. Now, I like to show the process of actually going to that replay, simply because I like you guys to see how this actually works, as I absolutely love this replay module. Now, I'm just going to make sure this is the right one. Okay, it is. It is. I will say that we had a decent game in terms of us as a platoon. Rob kind of got screwed in the beginning, but I ended up kind of pulling this game out of my ass a little bit. So we start off, both the teams it looks like we're at a disadvantage if you look at just statistically. Tanks-wise and number of tanks, it's kind of a toss-up. It really is. You can't say yeah, you can't say no. It can go either way, you know, World of Tanks. Unless it's like a ridiculously outnumbered, a ridiculously outgunned. It's anybody's guess. So anyways, we're in a tier 8 high. This is actually really good matchmaking for this tank. You usually get tier 9s. This is a tier 8 high with some 7s, some 6s, and a 5 scout. This is basically the best matchmaking you're ever going to see. That's the other reason too. I've had some games in this thing where you can go tier 9 matches, and the thing just wrecks. It just destroys. It's a very good tank. However, that'll be coming in another video when I'm going to do a compilation of videos essentially where I just talk about and kind of show, I don't want to say unbelievable matches, but matches that definitely shouldn't have gone the way they did, and they ended up going that way. But anyways, this spot right up here for this map, Arctic region, I really enjoy. I recommend it. Now, you have to be careful. I am being extremely aggressive right now because my friend Rob over there, he's spotting for me. Usually there's going to be a sniper or two over there. You got 1390, you got a Dicker Max, of course, those to be expected on the enemy team. Try to put a shot, I track him. No, actually, no, I did something. I don't know what. I should have put that last shot in the 1375. I didn't see him. Put the next shot into him. Now, you notice I'm at 450 meters, and the gun's pretty much laser-like. And that, as soon as I say something, it goes over. Now watch this. Bang. It's a very reliable 85mm. I highly, highly recommend with this 85mm. You don't have to use premium ammo. You don't have to spam it. It's not necessary. Not needed. You don't have to. Run the regular ammo until you reach tier 9s and 10s that you might need the premium ammo with. But otherwise, your regular ammo is just fine. What's this? I don't know what this KV-85 is doing. He's just kind of hanging out. He's doing something no one knows. Yeah, we had some TeamSpeak problems there for a second out. I think it was a server reset or something like that. Alright, so now we're looking at... Looks like the south road there, the GH line, has a few tanks over. I'm just kind of looking around. Nothing much to shoot at. And I figured, you know, I'm going to go do something. I'm going to see what I can spot, see what I can make happen. Now, when I said I like to play aggressively in this thing, I wasn't kidding. This is a move that, at the time, I was regretting doing, but it was worth it. Now, you guys might be seeing what's going to happen here. There's an easy 8. Now, you're going to learn some things good and bad about this tank. Good thing, very accurate gun. Bad thing, not very good on the move because it's a rigid tank. So I'm now in a duel with this easy 8. And I lit up 5 or 6 tanks. But he and I are in a duel. But guess what? I bounce a shot from him. I take a shot from 1375. I bounce one from 1375 in the easy 8. Oh, he tracks me, damages me. I shoot him. I had shot from 1375 again. I kill the easy 8, and I just run down here. I made the stupid mistake of, bam, losing 114 health. So right now, I'm only done like 500 damage. Oh, wait, ELC. Oh, there we go. Kill number 2. 658. 1-8-wise, that's about average. It's around the yellowish band. Around 1,000-ish. So, I had 2 kills. Not doing too badly. Now, this spot's actually a powerful spot for a scout, considering they cannot push over at A5. You kind of have them trapped. So I kind of try to play passively. I'm going to let these guys do their thing. Oh, the 1375. Oh, look at this. Perfect shot. 1. Ooh, someone else hits him. I think this next shot just... I didn't fully aim it, so I paid the price for it. I have 2 shots of regular ammo left. I take a lot of the premium not because I usually use it, but simply because sometimes you just need it in this tank. When you get the tier 9s and 10s, I mean, you need the premium ammo, I'm sorry. You know, 170 pen is not going to cut it going against an IS-7. Just isn't. Either way, there's a T-37 up here. I tried to be a little sneaky. I tried to... Oop, nope. Ain't going to happen. T-37 spotted me from his commander. He's been killed. So we're at 821 damage, win 8-wise. That's decent. That's in the green. You know, for me, that's not good enough. I like to do a lot better than that. I'm trying to dig out my stats from the yellow band, but... Whoop, hit a rock, James. Watch where you're going. GW Panther down there. I know there's an E2 right here. There's a jumbo. Look at that. Can't hit him. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. How much damage can we put in this guy? We're just going to go. He's not going to expect us. Oh, got 1 shot into him. And got the killing blow. Alright, so now we're at 1,058 damage. Pretty decent win 8. We're in the light blue. Actually, I think the was turquoise or something like that. I don't even know the color very well. And what do we see? A Dicker Max. Now notice the maneuverability in this thing. This thing goes right up the hill, doing roughly 50 kph. The maneuverability in this thing's fantastic. Now the gun depression is not, as you saw from the E2, not the greatest gun depression, but it happens. Now if you notice, bottom left-hand corner, there's been 3 critical hits. Those are the shots that bounced. The Bulldog would already be dead by now, because none of those shots would have bounced. That's the big difference. You kind of get a second chance a lot of time with this tank. You do something stupid like what I did, and I was able to survive it. But don't worry, there's a little bit more stupidity to come. So I see this VK. I'm not going to try and go long range with him. He'll get me every time. I won't. I back up. Uh-oh, there's a T-29. He's someone I really fear. He could potentially high roll and kill me. I'm going to go down. I'm going to say the hell with this. I'm going to go try and go around. I'm going to leave those guys to deal with them. Well, there's an Indian Panzer, and then there is a Type 59. I thought they were looking my way. They're not. They can't even see me. So I'm just going to go after them. Oh, Type 59 got shot by the M40. That sucks. Alright, so now we've got the Indian Panzer over here. Now I was kind of joking about playing the spy music right here because I'm going to try and be incognito. I'm going to try and just totally blindside this guy. Shot on the move, bang, and then you park right behind him. He doesn't expect it, bang. And then I think I'm in the clear. I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to get behind these guys. And oh Jesus, he's so going to get me. I'm thinking about it, he's so going to get me, so going to get me, and he misses. Completely just doesn't even fire, doesn't even take the opportunity. That's why I take the opportunity to get him again. Alright, so that's 6 kills, 1,600 damage. 1,600 damage is nothing spectacular. I think a lot of people fail to do that much damage because they don't understand how to operate the tank. The way I played it, personally, is how I feel you should be using it. Use it aggressively, especially in a game that you can. If you have the advantage, do so. However, in higher tier games, you have to play passively. This is a tank I would say you should run in platoons. Do not run this tank solo. You can. I had great success running it solo, but this tank happens to fit my playstyle very well. You can be a little bit careless with it and still have a great game. It's very forgiving. Think of it kind of like the IS-3 of Scouts. If you screw up royally, oh yeah, you're done. You can't do it. You don't have any gun depression. There's a few things you have to know. But if you read the terrain and read the match well enough, you'll come out on top. You'll do very well. Will I say this is the usual result in this tier? Most any competent player can make a result like that. This was a result that was good because I kept reading what was going on the map, kept looking at the tanks and trying to pick them off one by one. And that's something I want to stress. This thing is very good for taking out every other tank one by one and just whittling them down. So, would I recommend this tank? Absolutely. Do I think this is a great tank? Oh yeah, definitely. Is it as good as the Bulldog? No. It's not as good as the Bulldog. Basically, no Tier 7 Scout is as good as the Bulldog. And it won't be. The Bulldog's meant to be the big guy on the battlefield, but the Bulldog has its very own set of weaknesses. So, most people would say this thing is as good as the Bulldog, and obviously statistically, it's not as good as the Bulldog. I just prefer this tank. I think it's a great tank, especially when you're in platoons. You got a couple friends of Bulldogs. I'll take this thing. and they really complement each other well. And this is something else I want to talk about, was that if you look at a lot of the other Tier 7 scouts, you have the WZ, which is a constant fire, this LTB, which is constant fire, then you have the 1375, which is an autoloader, and then the Bulldog, which is an autoloader. So you have some combinations that you can work with. If you have a friend that's trying to grind up the 1375, like I will be next week, you can take an LTB and a Bulldog. The point I want to try and make is it's better to mix them up a little bit sometimes to have that constant fire in there. And that's the one thing with the Bulldog. The constant fire gun from the Bulldog, I know it performs well, but I don't think it performs as well in this 85 mil in practice. And this is something that a lot of people need to realize, is that the guns might look statistically very well, very good. This gun statistically looks lackluster compared to the Walker Bulldog's gun. Yet, in battle, because of that accuracy, it performs very well. The accuracy on the move is not as good as the Bulldog, I will say, but stationary, the sniping, long-range shots, it's much better. So, I'll leave it with this. You can make your own decisions about it. I fully endorse this tank. I love it. I would say keep it. There is one little problem, though. It's if you want to keep it getting to the T54 lightweight, which will probably be the next video I do. The T54 lightweight is fantastic. The choice you have to make is, do you keep this tank when you get the Tier 8? I would say I would. However, if you have a Walker Bulldog at Tier 7 and you really enjoy it, if you want, sell the tank, transfer the crew over to the T54 lightweight. That might be a better option for you. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Let me know how you feel about the review in the comments. Make sure to give it a like, and if you like subscribing to the channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and I shall catch you next time.